Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
All right. Mine doesn't work.
You don't suck it in. You have to blow
There
it.
you go.
There you go.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to episode 95. We're back at PCA National Headquarters. Around the table, we have Manny Albin, Damon Lowney, and at the controls, we have Robert Forsyth. And Manny, I chose a purple Happy New Year hat for you because I know you're celebrating the Ravens.
I think you're getting on the bandwagon because you know they're
There's no bandwagon for me to get on.
Yeah, same here.
I just know enough that they won, and many of my relatives were
remember
very
the
happy.
bandwagon when they won the Super Bowl? Suddenly, you bring your kids down to the stadium. They have never been to the stadium.
That was for my kids, of course.
Yeah, because it was FREE.
Why not jump onto the bandwagon when they're winning?
That was
as a non-football fan.
I did watch the first half, not because I happened to choose it, but I was at my family's house and they're big sports people, and so it was on, and I watched it, and it was. I mean, the first few minutes of the first quarter, I was like, "Uh-oh, my family's not going to be very happy in Las Vegas." But then it turned around, and they never looked back. It was pretty crazy.
San Francisco is a phenomenal team, and I have to admit that going into it, I thought the Ravens were going to lose.
Really?
It was just a matter of what they could learn.
Yeah.
But, they kudos to them. I mean, I was a very happy boy that I wore my new Ravens hoodie that my parents gave me, and maybe that was good luck.
Yeah.
That was a phenomenal Christmas present for the Raven faithful.
So I see, not to jump, there's also another sports reference later on. We'll be talking in the news, which I had to click the link because I had no idea what you were talking about. But was that the Ravens, the Ravens hoodie, was that a Christmas gift?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So what else did you get? Because you're probably like me, probably the worst person to shop for.
Maybe. I mean, so my wife got me Hot Wheels, and she got me, Robert, I think a picture
a collection
Robert.
of Hot Wheels.
Yes. She always buys them whenever she goes to the store. And, of course, it's hard for her to keep track of which ones I have and I don't. So she'll ask me, do you have this one? If I say yes, she puts it aside. So all the extras she gave to our grandson, who's a year old, Warren.
Whoa, what is that one?
So that's the one I'd been looking for every time we go to
like
every store.
Pope-mobile
It's a tune version. It's a tune version of the 3.6964. They call it a tune because it's like exaggerated.
Oh, cartoon.
Cartoon, yeah.
Ah, okay. Got it.
And
I see that, and I see a Pope-mobile, only it's a Porsche, and it's probably
when I first
bulletproof,
saw
right?
it, I didn't like it. And there was a bunch of them at the store like 6 months ago, and I didn't buy it because for those who wonder, I just collect things that I like to look at, not collect everything Porsche.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have the room for it. So, but the more and more I saw this, I really liked it. Because I saw the Batmobile. I saw all different cars like this. I said, this is pretty cool. I just want to collect them, and I couldn't find it.
Hot Wheels is crushing it lately.
Yeah,
I mean,
and what's bad is there's so many collectors who are out there because they see how much money they can make on eBay.
Yeah.
I don't even call them collectors; they're opportunists.
Yeah.
And there's people at stores like Walmart, Target who
Pick
work
them ahead of
there,
time.
and their friends, they let their friends know when the shipments come in. So it becomes hard as a Porsche collector. I'm not looking to resell. I just want to add to my collection.
Right.
Hard to find stuff.
So I wonder how hard it was to find a Barbie doll this Christmas because I saw people on the side of the road near where I live
Selling
with
them?
a whole stack of Barbie dolls.
Really?
So I'm wondering, did people go and just buy a bunch of Barbie dolls at the store
Because
sell
of the movie?
out? Yeah, that's what I would think.
So for those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, so the tuned, so as in cartoon, it almost reminds me of the Cars movie with Sally Carrera, and it's sort of like a shortened wheelbase, 964.
It's a caricature.
A caricature in the greenhouse, let's call it.
If
It's
you
just
Google
exaggerated.
tune or cartoon Hot Wheels Porsche, this will come up.
How many of them are Porsches? Just this one?
No, they make a bunch of different ones.
Oh no, you're ruined.
I saw the No. I collect only Porsche. I don't have the room to. That ship sailed a long time ago. It's strictly
So
Porsche
they only make one Porsche.
that I've seen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So that
just-
saves you.
just-
You're
yeah,
not going
right.
to do the whole tune series.
No, my wife said she got it online for $3. So I think there's different variations for wheels, but I'm not that deep.
No.
Because you can go crazy.
And where will this tuned car go?
And my garage with the other Hot Wheels.
And you still have room in your garage? Because last time I checked, that wall is pretty full.
My garage looks like an empty warehouse.
Okay,
compared
well,
to
it's
yours.
not about me. That statement was not about me. That statement was about you. And I know that left side of your wall
Believe
is
it or not,
very
I
defensive.
can get rid of things.
dang it. I walked
Man,
right
he's got an answer for everything,
I
doesn't
walked right into it. He never lets me go. So anything else did you get? Those were the major things?
Also, my kids got me year subscription to Apple TV.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
You'll make
catching up
use
to
of that.
shows that most people have watched 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Watch Severance.
Severance, all right. I was.
So is that where Ted Lasso is?
Ted Lasso? Yeah.
So
and I think the morning show, and I saw Napoleon is coming out.
Napoleon
with
Dynamite?
Joaquin Phoenix. I
Oh,
think.
Napoleon.
Yeah, the other Napoleon.
I thought you meant Napoleon Dynamite. I'm like, that's an old movie.
The history major that you are. A whole series of Napoleon Dynamite.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't set this up. This is he
Yeah.
just does this naturally.
Like, no, it's like the actual Napoleon.
Yeah, so I got the so that was nice. And I got Apple Music. I figured I had to set that up yet, since I don't listen to music too much in the car unless I don't have any podcasts to.
I only
Listen
listen
to.
to music. And
Apple
you listen
Music
you
is
listen
good.
to NPR, so you don't
Yep,
even
NPR, and I use Tidal. So
What's the title?
if you have fancy schmancy speakers, Tidal has higher.
It's
bit
like
rate, I
high
believe.
bit rate
Yep.
music.
I just felt like he just said, "Well, if you didn't live in a trailer house, you would know what indoor
You don't
plumbing
have-
is."
If you don't have Magnaplane speakers, don't even talk to me.
I don't even have speakers in my house.
Really?
Nope.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
I
think
just thought about that. And I was an audiophile for so long. Problem is, I have so many people living in the house that underneath where I watch my TV and everything.
it's a
is
common room.
My daughter, and if I turn the TV too loud, she texts me and says, "Can you turn it down?"
Oh,
So one day when everyone's gone, then I'll set up an audio room.
well, we'll be there to help you. So my family, my kids, they grew up with loud music all the time, so they're just used to it. They still tell me to turn it down once in a while when the bass like shakes their computer and they can't like play their games. But yeah, we have, and I've also, as my my older relatives have downsized their house. All my family, all of them are audiophiles, crazy stuff. So as they downsize, they're like, "Hey, would you like this, monoblock amplifier that used to be $5,000?" I'm like, "Sure."
They must have like all these appliances, and they don't know what to do. They
just
say,
call me.
Boo up. He'll
They
take
just
it.
call me. Oh yeah. If I look around my house, I think I would say.
And for those
80K.
listening, Boo's house is not that big. He does not live in a McMansion.
No,
I
I
can tell
don't.
you
I
that.
don't. I think 80% of like home stuff that I have is either second hand, or like someone donated, like a family member left it to me, or I bought it off of Facebook Marketplace. Like I just don't get excited about buying stuff for my house. So I feel terrible buying retail for my house. So and the thing is, I get like amazing deals. Like
My setup is all used. My TV was
Yeah.
open box. All my speakers were open box. The sub was new, and I have a refurbished receiver. with
Yeah,
amplifier.
but people, when they come into my house and they see everything that they have, they're like, "Oh my gosh, did you spend like all of your life savings for all this stuff?" I'm like,
Nope.
"No." So, did you get anything cool? Damon?
Actually, no. So I'm not really a present person. I'm like the Scrooge, is in the sense that I don't really like to buy presents, and I don't like to receive presents.
Well, that makes it convenient for your loved
Yeah,
ones.
exactly. And sure, a good present I like to receive, but usually presents are a little bit off the mark, so I just rather not participate. I will say, and it's funny, but the only present that I got are these shoes from my ex-girlfriend right before we broke up. So they're very nice, and I thank her. They're very nice. They're the Pelote drifts,
Yeah.
which
Oh, nice.
love Pelotes.
Now take care of them, because you are hard on shoes.
Yes, I'm hard on shoes.
You're
for
hard on
sure.
shoes. So are they still clean?
Yeah, they're still clean. I'll actually let's see if I can.
Well, you haven't done a track event yet.
They're kind of clean, but yep.
Okay.
You clean your shoes. I think I asked you this before. Do you clean your shoes?
I don't know. They just sort of.
You did not just ask him that, because it's obvious.
I don't know. He was so proud of the shoe. I thought he might take care of it.
No, the thing is with Damon, like he loves things, and he will take care of things mechanically and be.
Yeah.
But when it comes to
Cosmetics,
cosmetics,
not really.
he could care less.
I can't handle having the white part of the shoe scuffed.
Oh, yeah.
And I have cheap shoes.
Yeah.
But I still
Yeah.
clean them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I have my cleaning kit underneath my sink, and I'll go and clean the white because it can't have scuffs on them.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I use my detailing stuff that's in the garage and before I walk in the house.
I use the bleach white. The
Oh yeah, that's all.
the
That's
stuff for the
perfect.
tires.
Oh yeah.
I actually have
That's
like
perfect.
a shoe cleaning kit that I've used a couple times when I've absolutely needed to, but I don't use it too often.
Car detailing supplies are great to clean up shoes,
Ah, interesting.
like spray detailer and bleach white, or what's the blue can? Shoot, we have it in the garage.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyways,
I'll
I
have to
use
give
it
it a
all the
try.
time. Yeah, and
Not Blue Magic, is it?
No, not Blue Magic. Same thing with all the leather care stuff that you use for your interior. Use it for the leather shoes.
Because my old
It's
pelotes
perfect.
do need to be cleaned.
There's a guy on Instagram that pops up once in a while on my feed. I don't follow him, but I guess because I've watched his video, and I watch every time one pops up. He takes somebody will ship him this raggedy, dirty pair of Air Jordans.
Oh yes,
and he sits there and he reconditions them.
That's
and
awesome. I love watching
It's like,
that.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say that I didn't get presents. I actually have like a stack of cards that I still haven't opened yet. But
So you brought them
so
inside.
I'll
from the
report back
mailbox,
next week.
but
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
brought them
open the
inside,
cards.
but I didn't open them. So I meant to, and then I just forgot about it.
Like you too, I'm pretty hard to shop for. I'm one of those persons that just kind of like, if I want something, I will. Like, I'm very patient in waiting for like a good deal, but I usually get my stuff like all year long.
Yeah.
So my kids and Loanne, they're always kind of watching to see what I'm missing or needing. And this time, so our family does Elfster. You know what Elfster is? So
Elfster?
Elfster.com.
Sounds like a made-up game.
It's kind of a game. So basically what you can do is set up gift exchanges. So my family, where if you're working, and we're called the middle B's, and everybody, kind of the cousins, they're all, the names are put into this list, this wish list, and Elfster generates a match. And so you put
This is
in
an app.
it's online, elfster.com. And then you put in your, like, I don't know, you can put as many things on you want on your wish list, 10, 5, whatever. And then the person they match you to sees that list, and then they can go buy you stuff. And we have, like, our family has a limit of $150. So out of like the 24 people that are on that, we only have to buy one present, a really big present, but only one present. And Christmas Eve, we all get on Zoom and we all open it, and then we try to guess who did it. So anyways, so not only is it for the person that you get selected, but then my family also goes on there and sees my list, so they can see what has been purchased by my Elfster Secret Santa, and then the other things that are not purchased. So it kind of works out. Like
Nice.
like I needed some new pickleball shoes, so they got me the.
They make shoes for pickleball.
They do.
Oh,
A
man.
very specific pickleball shoe.
Wow.
You laugh.
I do.
But I'm a terror on the court. But I saw the Ray-Ban Wayfarer Meta glasses that Bogdan have, and I'm like, that would be kind of cool. Like when I'm riding, my motorcycle, or if I'm at autocross, like instead of setting up a GoPro or something like that, it takes 60-second videos in pretty high definition. It's not too expensive. It's sunglasses that are very smart. They have like an AI function, and you can just say, hey Meta, what's the weather outside? What's the weather forecast? It's pretty cool. It's lightweight. It doesn't feel bulky like some other AI glasses, and of course it's a pretty reputable brand. Ray-Ban connects to your phone, downloads all the 60-second videos to your phone on the fly. So that was a very cool gift from my Secret Santa. But every once in a while you get a gift from someone unexpected, but they thought about it. And one of my longtime PCA friends, Pari, I'm going to give out a shout out to him. He's like, dude, can I stop by? I just want to drop off something to you. I'm like, okay. He drops by all the time. And he gave me, and I'm not a big drinker, but he knows me, and he put thought into this gift. So in 2023, it was the anniversary of hip hop, and Nas, if you know Nas did a collaboration with Hennessy. So he dropped off a bottle of 50 years of hip hop Nas Hennessy.
Oh, wow.
Which is, it's not crazy expensive or anything, but it's just like one of those gifts I got, and I'm like, he knows me so well. Like, that was so cool. So that's one of the, once in a while you get this gift where someone you don't even expect.
So you're going to
it.
drink it, or is that just like on the shelf?
No, I told him, I was like, we're going to have to set up some time. You come over and
Nice.
we'll
Then
break
fill
it
it with
open.
iced tea later.
Yeah, it's not expensive cognac or anything like
What
that.
did he consider the first song or first group of hip hop? If it's 50 years.
Oh, that's a good question. I do not know. So it would be like Melly
That's a Google
Mel.
question.
That's a good question. You guys got the laptops. But yeah, can you believe it? It's been 50 years.
I was trying to think back.
50 years of hip hop.
That
Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, Rapper's Delight or
Grandmaster
King
Flash
Tim
is
the Third.
who I would
Fatback
think.
Band's
Yeah.
King Tim the Third.
Crazy,
Never heard
huh?
that one.
Like it just like blows your mind that hip hop's been 50 years already. Crazy. So, anyways, I think I should at least mention if you would like, comment, and subscribe. We also have been reading all the comments from the recent videos, and we much appreciate it and love it. And when we see you guys out in person and you follow up on comments here, we've also been giving out a lot of those PCA Insider decals.
yes.
So thank you to the staff here getting those
I
out.
think it's Charlotte.
Charlotte, yes.
Charlotte, if you send an email in and the reply, if you don't notice, it comes from our own Charlotte, our lovely Charlotte, the manager of member services.
And we're sending them out internationally too. She's
Yes,
sending them out wherever. Well, I mean, we still have a supply. So if you want a set, just email podcast.
Will
at
we send them out to
PCA.org.
prisons?
To what?
Prisons?
I don't think so. I don't know that I want a PCA
I know we don't
Insider
send
sticker.
Panorama out to prisons,
Yeah.
but what do we? Why not?
I don't know.
we could
That's
get
just-
reputation.
You want you,
Just in case we
you know
ever
what?
find
I'm gonna
ourselves
create,
in prison,
I'm gonna
we could
create
say,
Manny posters, and I'm going to send them to prisons.
I've seen worse.
I've seen worse.
So here's something I found out that it's not Porsche related, but just blew my mind. So we go shopping yesterday to the grocery store for like the 20th time in 4 days. And my wife says, I want to stop and get the bagels because it was like early in the morning at Panera, which is right next to the Wegmans. And so we stop and I go, I'll go in with you. And as we're at the register, I look down and I see this warning sign for their lemonade. Do you guys go to Panera?
Yeah, but I've never
Sometimes,
seen a
not very
warning
often.
label for lemonade.
That's what I said. I was like, I
know the
kinda,
story.
I kind of chuckled to myself and I said, "What is this warning label for lemonade?"
Had you heard about it?
I had not heard
Oh,
about
you
it.
hadn't?
And Roxanne goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Pick up people died from it."
Lemonade.
Yes, and I'm like, "What?"
She had a heart condition.
It's it's called charged lemonade. It's caffeinated lemonade, which I would never have thought the lemonade would be
It has
caffeinated.
a ton of caffeine.
It has
But
more than
this is something they created, kind of like a Red Bull.
well,
Yeah,
so
in a sense, yeah.
sure, yeah, but they weren't. I guess people didn't understand what it was. So she said originally it was just where you could go up and refill it yourself. You know where the regular lemonade is.
Oh my goodness!
Not now it's behind the counter, but it has more than there's Robert showing it more than Red Bull and more than Monster. I think it was like 300. I don't want to get
It's a
this
lot
wrong.
of caffeine.
That's like anyways, there's 390 milligrams of caffeine, and of course if you get the big cup.
Like
it's
the big gulp
yeah,
cup,
and
yeah.
you can go back for refill because I know if I'm drinking lemonade, I'm not thinking I got to worry about caffeine.
Yeah.
And
I better warn
cause
Gregory
two cardiac
Brown.
arrest.
He's a big lemonade drinker.
So if you
Yeah.
do go to Panera, we like their food. We go there a lot. Never occurred to me that the lemonade now it's supposedly behind
Why-
the counter.
Yeah.
Why do you need charged lemonade?
Well, I don't know. People think, well, it has a little kick, like a cup of coffee.
Instead of drinking coffee.
Maybe. I mean,
Okay.
if I buy a Red Bull, I don't think I'm going to have a cardiac arrest.
Well, if you have a heart problem. So what happened was that there was a young lady with a heart condition, I think in her early 20s, college student, and she knew there was caffeine in it, but I guess just not quite how much from what I've read, and it caused her to have cardiac arrest or something, I believe, and she passed away.
That's terrible.
So, yeah.
Anyways, I thought that was so you didn't
I
know either.
didn't know. That's
yeah,
crazy.
Roxanne said, "Oh, yeah, it was in the news," and I was like, "I did not see a thing about this until."
Yeah.
So that's my public service announcement. Just be careful when you're ordering.
Yeah, exactly.
Charged lemonade if you have an issue with the heart and caffeine.
So we didn't travel, and most of my family went to Las Vegas. So we had a pretty quiet Christmas, and Loanne wanted me to watch Ted Lasso, and I had never watched it before, and you were talking about it earlier, Apple. It's a great show.
It's a great show.
No wonder a bunch of people...
So you were kind of like Ted Lasso. You were learning a lot about football. Did you know they called it a pitch, not a field?
No, I didn't know that.
Do you watch that in the show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And they're
so
not all the
he's-
same size. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he goes, it's the same field that you played in before. The guy shakes his head. He goes, it's not.
He's so funny. He's so like bright-eyed and just so positive. Another show that I came across that you probably won't be surprised I like a lot is called Swap Shop.
Yeah, that's been around for a while there.
Oh, it has?
Huh?
Oh man.
Yeah, pretty sure. I haven't watched it.
My kids have the account to
There's also a
Netflix.
show called Honeymooners, if you haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, Ted Lasso is great, but Ted Lasso, I had to stop watching, give myself a break because it's almost too positive.
Oh,
Like it's that.
You need to
positive.
watch
I
Larry
love it.
David then. Then you can
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
loved it. So anyways, we're only on season 2, so who knows if I'll get a chance to finish it.
Yeah, I saw so much on Apple TV. I was like, I'm going to be useless for the next 2 days
Yeah.
watching these shows.
All right, so maybe, Robert, you want to throw up the newsletters and just remind people to head to pca.org and sign up for e-break news, sign up for performance news, and, of course, Mart Fresh News. Just head over to pca.org. Oh,
So I did something car-related last week. Evidently, you guys didn't.
I did.
What'd you do?
I went to TPC Racing's new
Well, did
headquarters.
you take pictures?
No, I didn't, because I want to go over there
Jeez.
and we're gonna official. It's not
You know the show's on YouTube.
it's
so
not
you gotta-
worthy to take photos yet because they literally just moved in and it's just kind of a lot of stuff is everywhere. So let's give them a chance to pretty it up and then we'll go over and take pictures. But it's an amazing facility. It is ginormous and like me, like I'm just thinking of how much stuff they can store, but honestly, just the amount of excuse me, the number of I think they have probably close to 10 lifts and
Wow. It
just
was a
tons
small
of
shop
room.
they had beforehand. Very
Oh, it was
small.
tiny shop.
Yeah, really
It is
small.
the polar opposite of the shop they had. It is huge. It is new. It is thought out for what they do, and it's going to be world class. So yeah, I didn't want to take pictures yesterday just because literally they have boxes everywhere because they just had to move out of their old location, drop it in the new location. Meanwhile, still work. So I think over the next couple of weeks they'll make it pretty and they'll invite us over. So congratulations to Mike Levitas, Tom Chan, and the crew at TPC Racing for their new headquarters, just about a mile down from where they were at. But they are secluded, so they can be as loud as they want, but they're still very close to 95. And it's state of the art. When you see it, you'll be thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, definitely.
So what car stuff did you do?
We went to Cars and Coffee, and very good turnout. The weather was not bad at all, considering it's almost the end of December.
It's been very warm.
But a member brought the
Dakar.
car.
Oh,
What color do you think that is?
that
Green.
looks like it's not British racing green, but it's certainly a green.
So I sent Robert a link. NATO Olive Green.
Ah,
Dan McNally, who was here before when it showed before, he's great at picking colors. I never even heard of this color,
Yeah.
so I had to look it up, and it is NATO, like the
Military.
it's the government alliance,
Yeah.
and it's named that because that's the color on their trucks.
it's a very nice
Cool.
looking
I was
color.
going to say, I wonder if that's allowed in Russia, but they probably don't sell Porsches in Russia right now.
Well, it's a PTS color that's very expensive, so I don't think if you can afford that, you're probably a high up person in Russia.
Yeah,
I feel like
And it's a 5 bucket.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known that because I would have taken more pictures.
Yeah.
But it's actually going to. I think he said his home is in Vale, maybe.
oh man,
He lives in Maryland, but he has a
is he
winter
in
home.
the military?
No.
See, like, I don't know. Just like I wouldn't rock camouflage. Like
That's not camouflage.
Well,
I
a
know.
cool
That is-
color.
that
it is a
awesome.
cool color, but because of the NATO ties, like I feel like I'd have to have some kind of ties to the military.
Yeah, that's a politically charged car. a
No,
little
no,
bit.
I don't think it's politically
No,
charged. I just think
no.
it's like that relation. I don't know, or maybe
I
if
think
like,
it's just. I mean,
maybe
the
if I
fact
like
that I'm
military stuff.
green colorblind, so I can only see some shades of green, but I could see that.
Can you see that color green?
Yeah, I could see it. I thought it was Irish green, but
It's a very beautiful color.
yeah, I didn't realize that color existed or the name, so I looked it up on our own Renbow site. If you haven't been to it, renbow.org, RENNBOW. And sure enough, we already had it in there.
Super rare.
And it's a 5 bucket color. And I thought, oh my God, I actually got to see. I think there's only a handful of 5 bucket colors, which is the rarest of the rare colors. So,
Very
yeah,
cool.
that was a highlight of
So that is a
Cars and
local
Coffee.
owner, but that car is going to go to Colorado.
local owner. I think it only had like 500 and some miles on it.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's going to take it out west for the winter.
Speaking of the Dakar, I read somebody's comment online how they kind of slammed Porsche for making that car, and I'm just like, I can't believe people say stuff like that when they've probably never even been in one.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I've always liked the idea of that car. But after being in that car, running up a mountain over stuff that I don't think I would take my Cayenne on, like that is a legit off-road car.
Yeah, for
so,
sure.
like, it's funny when I read stuff like that. Oh, can't believe, Porsche made something like that.
The owner told me he's taking it off-road.
Good for him.
A little bit.
It's capable. It's super
He said the
capable.
tires are great on the street. He was very impressed with it. He said it's a good all-around car, and he was very happy with the purchase of it.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
it's definitely a car that follows a trend, but I mean, to be honest, I don't mind if a manufacturer follows a trend that is a
Sure.
good trend, a cool trend.
absolutely.
Like that's the only reason I can think somebody wouldn't want that built.
I
is
think that car
they're
would be
trying too
perfect for
hard,
you.
quote unquote.
Because that's
Oh, yeah.
that's one of those cars where you just beat it.
Yeah.
And the more
Yeah.
dirty it gets, that just adds to the patina.
If I could afford one of those to daily drive, sure, that would be my daily driver for a
It's
long
cool
time.
car. It's such a cool car.
And
Yeah.
I wrote an article on You Break News that in 2012 they built this car. It was called the Vision.
Yep.
And at the time, they didn't feel there was a market for it. But if you look back at if you just Google Vision Porsche or Vision 911, it's very similar to what they came out with the car.
So it's not really a trend because now I know 100% our Safari 911 video is what kicked off the Safari trend. Well, I shouldn't say our video, but Lee Keen plus
yeah.
the video.
Yeah.
And our video was 2014, 2015, I believe. So that was
I would
a
say
few
when
years
Lee
after.
brought that car, his off-road Safari car, to Rensport,
Yeah.
and he parked it up on the hill. I think he just looked at an opportunity, left it there, and everyone went nuts because we hadn't
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
a off-road 911
Well, we
like
hadn't
that.
seen anything like that since Paris-Dakar?
Yeah, I think so. Right?
Yeah, but that'd be the factory Rothman's
Right,
cars.
yeah.
But this was like a street car.
Yeah.
Didn't have decals or anything. It was just to lift it, and it wasn't like a cartoonish. When they stick big monster truck tires on a 914
Yeah.
and lift it up. This was like really well done, and
Yeah.
it got
So
like Damon
I
said.
wasn't really in the Porsche scene during the pre-Dakar, but like, did people see cars like that back then and try to? Because you see the people doing that now. Like, if they see a factory effort doing something, but it's not made available to buy, people kind of make their own. So, Manny, in the '80s, did people do that to their cars, or were they not
No.
following it?
No,
I
you
guess
didn't see.
you didn't see any of that.
I mean, it certainly wasn't back in the '80s. I think I remember everyone was trying to black things out, the Euro look. They were taking
okay.
chrome trim,
Yeah.
sanding it, and painting it black.
Yeah.
Of course, now we shudder at all these bumpers that were destroyed.
Yeah.
The chrome taken off to be all black look.
Huh.
It wasn't. It was almost the opposite. They wanted it low, not high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. New Year's resolutions. Got any? Get your car done?
I'm still waiting on the IPD plenum.
Yeah.
So, no, I haven't gotten it done. Apparently, it's supposed to arrive tomorrow. So we'll
okay.
see. From there, it's just take off the current plenum, take the AC compressor out, the last bolt on one of the hard lines, and then put the new one in. And it should be pretty easy just to get everything back together.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, no car work, nothing. I guess the only thing I did last week really was I hung out with a couple friends on Christmas Eve, and then before that on Friday, I had a friend from elementary that I met in preschool. And when we graduated high school, 2006, he was 07. I haven't seen him since then.
Wow.
And, he's a pilot for United.
Oh.
So he was on layover in Baltimore, so we just hung out and I showed him around.
That's cool.
But yeah, as far as car work, nothing. New Year's resolutions, haven't really thought about it. But if I were to, yeah, I'd have to think about that a little more. I'll get back to you next week.
Well, I know you probably want to get your car ready for the autocross season.
Well, I know that. I don't think I have to make a resolution to do that. I just have to get the parts in and start working on it again.
Yeah. How about you, Manny?
I said this last year, and I hope to do it this year.
Uh-huh.
Get my wheels painted.
Ah.
And I got the wheels sitting in a garage in a very inconvenient place because my shins hit them every time I get out of the Boxster. And you would think that'd be enough for me to pick them up, put them in a Suburban, and take them.
I was
but
about to
still
say,
have it.
let's get them done. Send them to Sam at Rim Renew.
Are we talking about my wheels or
Yeah.
914?
Hey. Your wheels. That's a much easier project. Rim renew, Sam. He's up by
Where's that?
Security Boulevard.
Just a matter of putting it in there and driving it over.
Yeah,
But-
I got to go see him anyway. I've got a set of Civic SI wheels that he's redoing for me. Well, for Jason. So speaking of Jason, he came home from school and he is really driving the Civic and driving a manual now.
Nice.
And he's not smooth yet, but I told him it just comes with time. And
Yep.
you know,
A Civic, so
so the wheels are Civic SI 2000 Civic SI wheels, but they fit on the Honda Fit.
on the Fit. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I wanted a
Nice.
stock look, but same size, but a little bit different. He could care
On a
less.
car that your son doesn't drive because he's in
at school.
Utah.
He's in Utah, so I drive it when he's not here. So the hubcaps just aren't enough anymore.
That's
But
funny.
yeah. So for me, as far as resolutions, man, it's tough
Sell
to
some cars.
No. Well, maybe we probably do have to get rid of that 400 and some thousand mile Corolla at some point. But I
would lay money down that a year from now, that
I
car
will-
is
I will-
still in the Gwynn household.
I will get rid of that when my daughter gets a new car. But unlike me, my daughter is just like, she's like, no, I don't want to get a car yet. I want to start my job and see how my finances are. Like, she's so responsible. She's amazing. But at the same time, I'm just like, well, I know you need a car. You're going to have a three-day commute and you need to be in a nicer car. She's like, I'm just going to take the Odyssey for the first month or so, or I'll take the BMW. I'll take whatever car you give me. And then I will just drive and see how it goes.
She has AAA, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So she's, she's much wiser
funny,
than her father.
When I was around her age, having a car was like the first thing before you got a job, right?
Well, she has a car
But
to
she has
drive.
cars to
She has
drive,
cars to
so-
drive. So
Yeah.
she's all about saving that money. And
Yeah,
it's
well, that's good.
It's so
It
good.
didn't matter. I had cars to drive too, but I wanted a specific car. So it was, yeah, I wasn't as responsible as her.
So unlike her, I guess my resolution for the year is to find my dream car so that I can get it ready and unveil it in October. So
So it sounds like you have, you know what your dream car is. You just
Oh
don't
yeah,
own it yet.
I've said it before. I just don't own it yet. It's either a 356, A, B, or C, depending on how much money, and then if not, then a 64 Impala.
What's a 64 Impala that you'd be willing to spend money on cost?
Much less than a 356, which is why the
Well,
Impala
I
is
don't know what
probably
that is.
leading
What's
the
that?
charge. So you can get a nice driving, restored Impala hardtop on airbags for about 35.
Wow.
On airbags.
On airbags. I don't want hydraulics. Hydraulics can be cool for about 10 minutes, but they just ride so hard. I want something that will lay flat, but also be very comfortable, Cadillac-like, and just low and slow.
Now, they look like pretty big cars.
They're huge cars.
Okay.
Now, your next question is, where are you going to keep that car?
Well, I guess in your warehouse.
Yeah, but the problem is I have friends that take up space in there, so I've got to juggle things.
The car's so big
this
that
is-
you can't fit it into.
This is all part of 2024 plan, figuring out
funny.
how the puzzle pieces fit. Man, he's just shaking his head.
Yep.
Now, have they gone up in value, gone down?
Well, that's
or-
the thing is, unlike 356s, the market for Impalas, I think, have actually gotten kind of soft. So it kind of leads the way. But, never fear.
Yeah.
I'm still looking at 356s, and I had mentioned it
why do you want airbags
on the...
versus like a stock?
I just
64.
I love a lowered, flattened out.
So that's the only
Impala.
way you can lower it is in airbags?
Oh, you can do static, but then it's always low. And then you have the... It either
So he
rides
wants
hard...
to slam it onto the ground when it's parked and
when
then
it's parked.
raise it up.
Or like when you just
drives,
when you're
right?
cruising on the highway, you can
Yeah.
lower it, keep it low. But then when you go into a parking lot or driveways, you can air it up and make it, because I have enough cars
And
where
what's low
I have
end?
I have enough cars where I go at a 45-degree angle over speed bumps.
Yep.
So this one would not
And
necessarily.
what's
have to be that.
Loanne's opinion on this?
She does not want an Impala because she knows how big
So
it is.
we're looking through the sixes then.
Yeah, right.
356. I would love a 356, but that market just keeps getting further and further away. And I know here's the other thing is I have this rebuilt 356 motor that's probably worth, what did you say, Manny, half the cost of my Impala?
Not 10,000, maybe 12. Yeah.
I think more than that. a rebuilt 356 1600S motor. Now that's 1720. I think 15 easily.
All right,
15. 15. So if I sold that, then I pay for half of.
Well, you got to sell it. You got to sell it.
I got to sell what?
The motor.
I know I have to sell the motor.
But no, you say that. But I guarantee in a year from now, you're going to have whatever car you bought plus this motor, plus the Corolla.
You think you know me so well.
Oh, I do. What's the last car you sold?
The Mazda pickup truck.
That was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
That was a while
I think
ago.
I had hair back then.
Yeah,
Why
'cause
did
you
I
haven't,
sell that
You haven't
one?
sold the BMW yet, the 5 Series.
No.
And that is. I thought you would sell that at some point.
No, it's a great daily driver.
They're all great daily drivers.
Why is this turning into an intervention? All right, let's get into videos.
Yep.
Oh, well, let me.
You got one more?
before you disappear. So, Scott Johnson, who is a member photographer
Oh,
too,
I heard about this.
he posted up on the on this chat we have his car that he bought from another member in our club. It's an '87 911 Carrera. So when I was searching for my 911, which would have been back in '96, I think, a guy named Chip, who was in the region, was selling this car. And at the time, he was selling it on our little newsletter, our little region newsletter. And it was red. It was an '87 Carrera. It was red. Yeah, Robert brings
That's
it up
like
on
the
the screen.
iconic 80s
Yes,
911.
beautiful. It was a beautiful car. Low mile. I think it had like maybe 30-some thousand miles on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I farted around, and when I decided, yes, I'm going to pull the trigger and buy a 911, he sold it. And I found out he sold it to Scott.
Oh,
And
you
I,
were
and
going
I
to buy
think
it.
I actually called Scott up and offered him like $1,000 more, and he could make a quick profit. But he was in love with it too, so he stayed with it. And then he sold it a few years later. I can't remember the reason, but life happens, and he sold it. And anyways, this came back up on Bring a Trailer, this exact car, the one he
So
sold,
he
the one I
knows-
wanted.
He knows because of the VIN?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
And
and
it's
it's
sold for almost 100,000.
so I think it was 30,000 maybe, or 32,000 back in I think '96.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And now it's up to 95, obviously.
That makes sense. My uncle's RS America in '99 was 35 grand, I believe it was, and he sold it, in 20.
So the 56
18 for
entry
a lot
may be
more.
high, but I don't think you're going to lose money on it.
Yeah.
It's always a desire.
2024 is probably the best year to buy one, actually, because classic car values, they're not cratering, but they're kind of leveling off, according to Haggerty at least,
That's what
leveling
I'm
off
hoping.
to pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah.
In 2024, they're still going down, and they're just gonna flatline and stay where they are if Haggerty's right.
Yeah.
So
The funny thing, though, had I bought that car, and this is, I guess, way fate works. So I didn't buy it. I couldn't buy the car. I kept on looking for G model 911s. Suddenly, it was the world that was against me. Only Targas and Cabriolets, and I wanted a coupe. Couldn't find a coupe to save my life until this is before the internet. So I'm faxing based on the DuPont registry ads. I'm faxing all these dealers saying I'm looking for 87 to 89, preferably Guards Red, 911 Carrera, this many miles. Couldn't find anything. I faxed it to Champion Porsche. They faxed back and they said, we just had a 90 traded in, this many miles, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, God, 964s are kind of ugly. I don't want a 964.
Oh, no.
But my friend was like, no, you'll love it. You'll love it. Get it. It's such a more advanced car than the G model. And so I ended up buying it, which I was glad, because had I bought the 87, it was so nice, I don't think I would have ended up taking it to driver's ed, racing it. So it was interesting. And I thought to myself, because I bought the 964, it was in great shape. But, I didn't think twice about taking it to driver's ed, and then eventually I started club racing it and so on and forth. So my PCA life would have taken a whole different path if I would have bought this 87. Everything happens for a reason, they say.
I don't think I've ever heard you kind of say that you've wanted a Guards Red car at some point, because you've always been synonymous with white cars.
Well, I had a Guards Red. My first car was my 924. That was
Oh,
Guards
that
Red.
was Guard Red. Oh,
And I
okay.
got so many tickets.
Yeah.
And I was convinced it was red, because when I got the white car, I never got, I got a few tickets, but not a lot.
yeah.
By the way, I got in big trouble with the wife because thanks to Harford County government, where I live, I got 2 red light tickets
Oh,
in the same red light, coming and going.
Oh, same day?
$75 each.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
man.
She was not happy when it came in the mail.
Did you not make a full stop? Is that why?
Well, I told her, I said, this is BS because I was in the intersection when it turned red.
Oh, I see.
That's like the free zone.
It is the free zone.
It should be
actually.
free
If you're
zone.
already in,
Once you're
if
across the
already
line-
across the line,
Yeah.
Then shouldn't.
Exactly.
you were
So that's
in
probably-
the
I looked up. I look up all the time to see.
because they give you a nice photo,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yes.
And so they still gave you a ticket even though you were in the intersection.
It must be like a money grabbing thing for them.
Timing was off. That was a big thing actually with red
Oh.
light cameras over the years. I think San Diego had.
I
an issue
remember
with
Baltimore City had an issue where they had to recall all their cameras because they were giving. Believe it's a separate company that takes care of
Sure.
this. And in Baltimore City, there was it became infamous because this guy had a picture. They sent him a picture. He's standing with the brake light on, not even moving at the intersection, and he gets a ticket
Yeah.
for running a red light. And they started researching and found out that these red light cameras were all broken, but they're firing out all these tickets, revenue generating. So
it, which is why we don't have red light cameras in Baltimore. Or if
no,
we
they
do,
brought them back.
brought 'em
But they were a long time where
Not
they
only
didn't
do
have
they
them.
like in DC, they have red light cameras, they have speed cameras, and they have turning right cameras. So if you don't come to a stop and turn right, it also will ticket you.
Yeah, interesting.
And
I'm
I don't
just
know if this
happy
is
to-
true, but I've always heard that the companies that own the companies own the cameras, and they go to, let's say, the government and say, "Hey, we will install these cameras. You don't have to pay a cent, but then every ticket
They get a
generated,
percentage.
you get a percentage."
Yep.
Oh,
Robert said it's Xerox.
wow, man!
I
that
think the
is-
same thing at Easy Pass. Easy Pass is a separate company,
Oh.
so they basically take care of the administrative work and any of the hardware and whatnot. Because Easy Pass also we had an issue in Baltimore. Maybe it was nationwide, but I know Baltimore they had an issue.
Remember that they were double counting or something
Yeah.
when you cross through a toll or something.
I'm
like
a
that,
victim here, not a
Yeah.
not the criminal.
Not the criminal. All right, you want to go to videos now?
Yeah. So our latest video that isn't the podcast is a drive of 356 number 1. And it was kind of funny how this worked out. This had to have been Wednesday before Rentsport Reunion 7 started, and I was off shooting a video with Tech Art, and I received a text from Bassem Wassef, who is a Panorama contributor and also the guy who's driving the car in our video here, asking, "Hey, I'm going to be driving 356-1 in a few hours. Do you want to come and make a video of it?"
Yeah.
And of course, Bogdan and I were together, and we said yes, and we went there. And Johnny Lieberman had just gotten of Motor Trend, had just finished his drive and was walking away and talking to Bassem. Bassem hopped in, strapped the GoPros on. He drove a lap, and then we went back out again to the walk around location in front of the beach.
Wow, what a
And
treat.
yeah, I think it was 1.5 hours, and Alexander Klein, the museum chief, I'll call him chief of the cars
Yeah.
that are in the museum, and Bassem just knocked out this really nice video where I think if you're not a hardcore Porsche fan, you probably haven't heard some of the things that Alex talked about with the car. And
Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't heard some of the things as well, but very interesting video, a nice primer on Porsche's first Porsche. And when I say that, it's the first
Street legal.
car that was built by the company Porsche as
Yeah.
a Porsche, not
Right.
the loaner Porsche was not a Porsche per se. The hybrid in the early 1900s. But yeah, this is the first one that wore the Porsche logo and was road registered and mid-engined before the 356 went rear-engined. So very cool video. Check it out if you want to learn about Porsche history.
Now, Manny, that's the car that came to the Hershey parade, correct?
It's the real one.
The real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
And what's
the-
so
Well, there's so many.
so this one is the real number one car,
Yes.
but it is not in the form of what number one was originally. They have another car at the museum where they built it, and it's quote unquote a replica, but it's more accurate to the original number one. Like the original number one has a bench seat. These have two seats. The back end of the real number one is a little bit different because this car was
The wheel wells are larger on it.
Yeah.
It was a Swiss guy, so Porsche sold this prototype, really, to a Swiss customer who daily drove it for several years from 40 something until 1957 when he sold it back to Porsche. But in the meantime, I believe he was rear-ended or something like that.
But a Swiss customer was responsible for a lot of Porsche sales. So he was like, if you can imagine, a 918 circle person, like one at the top. And so they would give him first shot, and actually they would let him drive prototypes to get his opinion, because he would write to the factory. That's how he would write to the factory and say, I like this, but I don't like this. So the factory ended up sending him cars and saying, here, tell us what you think about this car. And he would write down very articulate feelings and suggestions on the cars. So, yeah, like Damon said, he ended up selling it back. But I think what's even more interesting is that while this is number one, number two was already built. And they knew they wouldn't build a mid-engine car. It was just too expensive. So 356 number two, which we saw at the it would have been 2012 maybe, when we went to Germany and for the clubs, and they had the Taycan prototype Mission E, but they also had the 356 that not many people looked at, but that was number two, and that was the one that Erwin Komenda designed, and they knew this would become the production car. The 356 we all know and love now.
So number one and number two, from what Alex was saying, we're actually testing together on the road. So it was, what they were doing was trying to figure out, do we want mid-engine or do we want rear engine? And obviously,
two extra seats.
I think it was production cost was just too high on the mid-engine.
What he said was that production cost wouldn't. He almost said you can just turn the drivetrain around and it like fits up really well. So it was more about the space in the having back seats. Was the main thing. So Alexander doesn't think that the production cost was all that much more for the mid-engine, but it was just the usability.
Man, wonder what it was like to drive. I've never seen under the front.
Have you ever driven a non-synchro transmission?
I've never.
I'm trying to think if I have.
You would know. You had a double clutch.
You had the double clutch. Yeah.
I know I could double clutch. I've practiced double clutching, so I think I could do it on a first drive, but I don't think I would be able to do it well.
Very cool. And that's what, like 35, 40 horsepower?
So also, other thing, this car originally came with a 1.1 liter, and what they have in the car for the journalist is the 1.5 liter from the 356 SL of 1951. So it's just a little bit easier to drive. Right. So I actually don't know, but I want to say it's like 50-ish horsepower in the 1.5. Probably a lot less.
But they still have the
1.1.
Original engine, though.
They do. They still have the original engine. I guess the exhaust that's hooked up to the 1.5 is the same exhaust or very similar.
You said because the SL had a 1.1. It was in that class.
So what Alexander Klein told me, it was 1.5 liters, and I remember Rod Emery saying it was
maybe
1.5.
Maybe a later version, but I remember it ran in the 1100cc and it beat. It beat the cars in 1500cc.
You're right. So they must have taken a later one. Yeah, you're right. So the 1.1 wasn't the SL, and that would have been a 46 horsepower engine.
And it ran on. Did it run on methanol?
No, I'm not sure about that
but
one.
But anyways, it was. I kept on thinking that must have been like flat out on the straights. With that little horsepower on that little engine.
Well, maybe we found like a little error there, because in the video it obviously says that it's a 1.5 from the SL, and I loaded a picture up of the SL.
Maybe a later SL, or at some point they put an SL in. I'm not an expert on the SL models, but I remember that it won its 1.1 class.
Yep. So it has more than 46 horsepower right now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then you got to drive what I think is one of the most amazing modern 911s. Manny and I spent some time behind the wheel in Germany in a Targa 4 GTS.
Yep. So
Great
I drove that, and it was Hendersonville, North Carolina, that day, and it was a local Carolinas region member, their car, and I love GTSs. We got to drive, at Barber Motorsport, the GTS coupes in both manual and PDK form, and any GTS I've driven is they're amazing. They have a ton of power. They handle really well, and that's what Porsche focuses on with the GTS, is a little more power and probably even more handling. And the Targa 4 GTS basically gives you that. The difference is that the Targa 4 GTS only comes with the regular PASM suspension, whereas the coupe comes standard with sport PASM, which is lower and stiffer. So if you are looking for a slightly more livable GTS, but you still want a lot of the advantages that a GTS gives, a Targa 4 is the way to go. I forget if the Cabriolet was offered with sport PASM, or if it came standard only with the regular PASM. But the Targa 4 GTS only gets regular PASM, probably because it's heavier. There's a lot more stuff going on, and you can feel that.
The roads that you were driving there,
Yeah.
that's the perfect car.
Yeah,
to
it is.
put that top back and just enjoy the fall foliage. And
I haven't
curvy
met a
roads.
Targa owner who doesn't love his car.
No,
Yeah.
It's like every Targa owner I've ever met absolutely loves the car. It was interesting in the comments on the video when somebody said, I was always told that GTSs only came with center lock, and mine has 5. And I think that it did come with center lock as standard, but you could opt.
You could option 5.
Because when we did the 60th Club Coupe, I remember telling them I didn't want center lock. I wanted 5-bolt. And they were like, "You sure? Because it comes standard." And I said,
Yeah.
"Nope, I want 5-bolt." And so it wasn't a big deal to switch it to 5-bolt.
but it just
Yeah.
makes it more livable for you know.
It's almost like the enthusiast spec if you have 5-bolt, even though the center lug is kind of, you would think is the enthusiast motorsport way, but like you try and get that off at the track.
Yeah.
If you get a flat or
You have to bring that 6-foot
yeah.
torque wrench.
I wonder how many roadside assistance. You don't have a spare tires, so maybe that's even a moot point.
Yeah, They're just
Could,
gonna put it
could
on a
take it
flatbed.
off. I
Just
wonder
gonna
how
put it on
tire
a-
shops are equipped.
Tire shops
You probably
have
just don't go to, probably not, I wouldn't take it to Mr. Tire.
Yeah, I was going to say, would a regular tire shop have the capacity? I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. To
They
take
might,
off.
but I don't know if I would trust that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just based
Especially
on,
if you
not
have-
just Mr. Tire, any just regular old tire shop.
yeah. Especially if you have
Hit or
ceramic
miss.
brakes and people
Oh, yeah.
tossing the wheels on and off and not being careful. You want somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the next one was the Tech Tactics Live that we had.
AGM batteries.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which went very well. I was,
Yeah. I learned a lot.
yeah, so did I. And Ben Tweed, our guest, was very knowledgeable, and I think educated a lot of people. So much so, I like some of the comments near the end where they were like, "I got to go plug in my car because you don't want to let an AGM battery die,
Yeah.
go empty." Yeah, it was. In fact, I got a couple emails this morning I was reading where people. I did an article for eBreak News about it, and so they must have read the article and were asking questions about the batteries. So.
Nice.
It's everyone's got to replace the battery. It's although I like the one person said they had 22 years out of an Optima,
That's
and I was like, you should contact that Optima and tell them to buy it back because they can study
Yeah.
how you
Why
got
that one?
And give
22
you a free
years.
one or something,
Yeah, it's
right?
got to be. That's incredible. 22 years out of a.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I mean, granted, an Optima is like an AGM, but still, that's a long
Yeah,
time.
it's a long time.
What I found out is I had a battery in my Fox Body Mustang that was probably 10 years old, and I always kept it on a trickle charger. And so, I don't really drive that thing very far. What I noticed was at the end of its life, get in the car, it would fire right up because it was on a trickle charger. But then if I drove it around, I noticed it wouldn't it would start a little bit slower. And then I put it back on the trickle charger. The next time I went out to the car and started it always fired up with full power, but it was because it was on the trickle charger. It kind of fooled me thinking that my battery was going to be good for it.
Yeah.
Do your maintainers have an AGM switch?
So I have actually they do. All
Yeah,
of them
mine
have-
don't.
Mine do. Yeah.
I got fairly new battery tenders.
Mine has I think
My
it's
battery tender, it automatically says AGM.
Does-
It
yeah,
detects
mine don't.
AGM.
yeah, mine has a button that you can cycle through.
I mean, none of my cars need an AGM.
yeah.
But yeah, they don't have AGM on it.
Yeah, but I think on the video I kind of confessed I did the bad thing of letting my AGM, in my Cayenne die a couple of times.
Yeah.
And that
A
AGM
no-name
a no name
AGM.
AGM died a couple of times. It lasted 3 years.
Yeah.
So, anyways, keep them charged and you'll be just fine. All right, on to the news. This one,
A lot of sports stuff.
Sports stuff. So I'm just gonna kick it over to you, man.
You pronounce it the pitcher's name.
Nope.
Come on.
Not even gonna try.
What is?
Shohei,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yeah.
Ah, very good.
Very good. Yeah.
What position does he play?
He plays baseball.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say as well.
He's a pitcher.
He's a pitcher.
Yes, but was in the news because I think it was a $700 and some million contract he signed.
Wow.
Yeah. it was a big
Of which
one.
majority is deferred.
Yeah.
So their baseball is a cap, and the way to get around this cap is they defer. So basically, his retirement accounts is secured. And anyways, he he ran a number. Was it 17? I hope I probably got it wrong.
Yeah, it was 17.
17 was it?
Mm-hmm.
And it belonged to another player, Joe Kelly, and his wife. Joe Kelly's wife started a campaign to get Shohei to come to the Dodgers, to sign with the Dodgers, and so as a thank you for giving up his 17 number. Because Joe Kelly said that's the only way he's ever going to make it to the Hall of Fame is his number. It used to be his number being retired because he knows Shohei is such a great pitcher. So she gifted the wife a new Taycan. And I don't know if Porsche gave him a discount, but boy, did they get a lot of coverage.
Yes, they did.
Because for like 3 days, that's all you saw in the news. It's a shame this video wasn't longer because it's only, 14 seconds long, and you just see her peer out and says, what? And the guy says it's a gift from Shohei.
Wow.
And
That's cool.
anyways, the Dodgers will look very interesting in 2024 with some of their acquisitions and signings. So,
All right.
Yeah.
So you promised you're going to not make fun of me. So is it me, or are there a lot of Japanese baseball players that are pitchers? Because it seems like I've heard of other Japanese.
recently, but it's all positions we've
All positions? Okay.
Yeah.
Remember
Japanese
Ikaro?
have a really strong.
Say what?
Ikaro?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. I don't know specifics, but Japan has a, I guess, really good baseball program.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Cuba and some of the
Yeah, and
other Latin American countries.
Central South
Yeah.
America, and the Japanese have been playing pro baseball for a long since the 40s.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. The next one is a pretty interesting article. Daku Yun.
Macan only for $3,200.
How do you-
Sold.
How do you not think this is not going to fail on you? You buy a
I think
fake
I was just talking to
Porsche.
somebody saying how many fake cars are fake, meaning they copy the car and sell it. And this was a direct copy, nothing new. It's been out for a while that there's companies that copy the Porsches. No 911s that I saw, but certainly the Macan and Cayenne. And this was a pretty darn close copy. But to no surprise, it doesn't have the quality or drivetrain of a Porsche. And so now owners who are very dissatisfied with their purchase.
So let's just share with the listeners. These are knockoffs of Macans and Cayennes. The company is Dakayan. So for $3,200, it looks like you have the body of a Macan, but sitting on top of a golf cart chassis or something. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
it
looks
looks like a
terrible.
hatchback. and-
Something tells me it doesn't have any crash testing done to it.
No, probably not.
Maybe it doesn't go fast
$3,200.
enough to even worry about a crash.
And then people are wondering why it like dies.
I
in the
like to
middle of the
comment.
street.
One of the owners on my car is like a tractor.
Yeah. Does not meet any legal standards. They're dying in the middle of the streets. Man, I feel terrible that people are duped out of $3,200.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah, but you got to wonder, what did they think? Did they really think they were going to get a Porsche-like car?
what's funny is that I've seen better knockoffs from China in years past than these ones that are in this article, in the sense that they actually looked like they worked and they looked somewhat luxurious. They just didn't look exactly like the Porsche
So
they're trying to copy.
In my packaging days, I would have customers who got a lot of products from China, and basically they said they could make an exact copy of whatever you want, and the quality can be just as good. It just depends how much money you want to spend. If you give them a faucet, and you say, replicate this faucet, but I only want to pay this much, well, then the quality of faucet is going to be evident.
Yeah.
But if you say replicate it, and I'd be happy if it's close to the price or just where I can make money, they can make an exact copy. It's all how much you
I
want to
watch
spend.
these reels on jewelers looking at fake Rolexes, and they've gotten so good at making fake Rolexes. Like, they have to break the case apart and look for numbers and run. I mean, it's
At that point, it's a Rolex, right? Just hopefully you didn't pay for
Oh,
the
that, I mean,
full
that's,
Rolex.
it's like scary. So how do you know, right? There's people that buy Rolexes, new from a dealer, which is easy. But then there are people that buy used Rolexes that it might be real, but then there are also people that like buy used Rolexes and change up the faces and modify them so that they look like a more popular model, change the bezels and stuff like that. So then the question is that a real Rolex or is that like a modified Rolex? And then there's ones that are just like straight up, like you said, Manny, it's just a copy of a Daytona, and the sweep is right, the Cyclops is right,
even the weight, because I
weight,
felt a Rolex, and as soon as I felt the weight, I'm like, oh yeah, this is fake. But I've
new
read
ones,
that the other ones you cannot tell the weight.
that's like scary, super scary.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see, 2025, and I can't believe this. In 6 months, they say we might be seeing the new generation of the 911.
I think we're going to see it next year near the end. We're going to see the debut.
So the original report was by George Cocker from Car and Driver, who I know has many tentacles deep into Porsche. He's when you find out new things, it's oftentimes from him. So it's probably true, but we should say that this is still speculation.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3.6 liter naturally aspirated flat six, but with a hybrid.
Yeah. So the hybrid portion of the car gives about 80, 90 horsepower. So now you're easily into like the upper 400s, lower 500 horsepower mark. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. But we did a video, 2017, I think.
With the Vonnen.
With the Vonnen, which is an
Vonnen,
aftermarket. And I tell everyone, I go, you will not be disappointed with hybrid.
Yeah.
I was blown away. And it sounds like a very similar hybrid system that Porsche is going to use, which is more like a KERS, not a plug-in hybrid.
Right.
Yeah.
It regenerates the battery. It's made for extra power. So instead of putting a turbocharger or supercharger, you've got this hybrid system. And it sounds like they got the weight down quite a bit. So it's not going to be this heavy, bulky thing that's going to be adding a ton more weight to the car. But it will be very addictive how much more
So will it? So I
boost of
remember
power.
in the Vonnen they didn't use a battery for reserve. They used like a capacitor. So it charges up quickly and discharges quickly, and it's almost like pass on demand.
I
So
thought it
is
was
that
still a
just-
battery.
It was a battery, yeah.
But it wasn't. It was a fast charge and fast
So
discharge.
you're thinking about the GT3 RH
Oh, maybe that's
that
what
had
I'm
the
thinking.
flywheel?
Yeah.
But
That's a curse.
like Damon said, the Vonnen. But I remember them explaining to me, I guess, in very easy to understand terms. They said it had a battery, not like a Tesla, but more like what the F1 cars were using, that was made to discharge the power very quickly. But where the Tesla was over time, because obviously they want to get the mileage.
Yep.
This was very quickly.
So you get 20 seconds in the Vonnen.
Yeah.
Which,
It's
20
a lifetime.
seconds full throttle.
That's a lot.
Oh,
That's
no.
a lot.
Yeah,
Like
you're
I
never
think you
gonna-
were saying, Manny, when you test drove the Vonnen, like you buried it deep for like 5 seconds, and it was enough.
even
'Cause you were
that,
do-
that
you were
was-
doing like illegal speeds. Just
I was in
like
triple
quick-
digits,
yeah.
and I had to lift off
Yeah,
the
so
Lift
20
off or
seconds.
brake and you charge it right back up.
Yeah, by the time I turned around, went back to where everyone was,
Charge right back up.
it was back up to like 90-some%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had his phone with the gauge showing how much battery. But once I did a couple runs, I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to. Like Damon said, 20 seconds and I would be in jail at 18 seconds.
Wow.
At a racetrack, it might be, you might have to plan a little more of when you use
Yeah,
that
I would
power,
love to
but-
try it on the racetrack. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the road, you'll never really
So,
get there.
yeah, I'm very excited to see what they do with this hybrid. I'm not, and it's interesting that they're going with a naturally aspirated engine. So yeah, it's going to be exciting times.
Car and Driver is saying that it's a modified version of the 3-liter. And wait a second.
Oh, I thought it was a 3.6.
Well, just like they modified the 3-liter to be a 4.0.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
And I wanted to say in the GTS version it would be the hybrid, and then potentially the lower cars wouldn't be the
I
naturally
think
aspirated.
Johnny
the hybrid.
Lieberman, I guess, was on Motor Trend also. He said that the base model wouldn't have the hybrid.
It would be probably still like the
The
3-liter.
S and the GTS would have the hybrid. Yeah, and will the GT2 RS? Will they debut the whole hybrid system with the GT2 RS to
Turbos
say,
and hybrid.
Yeah, exactly. What can we do? Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Man,
Yeah.
the amount of power that these cars are going to have, that's crazy.
Oh, it also says here the Carrera S and GTS will also adopt a 48-volt hybrid system. I wonder if that means the whole car will be 48 volts like the Tesla, or if it'll still be 12 volt for all the other systems.
Well, I think everyone. Well, what we learned from the Tech Tactics Live is the 48 volt infrastructure is all part of the electric cars,
Yeah.
and how much automated and power requirements are now on the newer cars that it just makes sense to go to 48 volt.
Yeah.
Probably the same way we went from 6 volt to 12 volt back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, so let's remind folks we've got a busy year ahead of us. Lots of events coming. First up for us is Tech Tactics East, February 24th and 25th. Registration opens on Motorsports Reg January 17th. We've got Works Reunion Amelia Island, March 1st. Registration for that is already open. We have Treffin Wine Country. That event is April 21st through 25th. Registration opens January 10th. Of course, we got our Crown Jewel event, Porsche Parade, June 9th to 15th in Birmingham, Alabama. Phase 1 for that opens January 31st. We've got Treffin at Sea. They're booking now, and Treffin at Sea will be going to Alaska July 28th through August 4th. And if you're not going anywhere, but you're just sitting at home and want to get back on the track, then give Sim Racing, PCA Sim Racing a try. PCASimRacing.com. They are racing online as we speak. And let's see, what else do we have before we sign off? We're at the top of the hour already.
Well, next podcast, I'll tell you now, since we're going to have Will Williams from Hunt Valley Horsepower.
Okay.
And you're both going to give us your insights on what it takes to hold successful Cars and Coffee events. Since you run Mikey
cool.
and Mel's,
Uh-huh.
Will does the Hunt Valley Cars and Coffee. We've been doing that for, I think, over 10 years now. And, what it takes to put on these events, because a lot of people always are looking to start a Cars and Coffee type event. And it looks easy, but I think there's more to it than just...
if they only knew.
Yeah. So it should be an interesting conversation because Will's managed to keep this place for over 10 years, which is almost unheard of. And obviously, you're going on this will be the third or fourth year of Mikey and Mel's.
I think this would be... that's a
I didn't
good
know
question.
that you ran that, actually.
Yeah. So I think it's third year. It'll be third year.
Yeah, so it's and it is Mikey and Mel. We're trying to figure this out. Is the Mikey and Mel's parking lot the same size as Hunt Valley, or bigger, or smaller?
Oh, I couldn't. Tell
I couldn't.
I mean, it'll hold 500 cars.
I'll have to ask Will. I'm not sure how much. Of course, we're just standing in the parking lot looking around, and I'm like, that's a good question. I think, could they go pretty far?
Yeah.
But either way, that's two popular shows in Maryland, and I think it'll be a good conversation. So
Yeah,
we
it'll be
record
fun.
that next Wednesday.
All right. Well, again, Happy New Year's to everyone. Thank you for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, grab that VIN and head over to PCA.org. If you don't have your Porsche yet, also head to PCA.org because we have the test drive program, and where we'll open up resources and help you find that Porsche for your driveway. Remember to follow our podcast Instagram page, behind the scenes photos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word. You can always send us messages at podcast@pca.org. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay in touch with all things Porsche. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.